We have a real hurricane out there, folks. Yes, sir, we have a real hurricane. And from, I guess, yesterday, maybe the night before yesterday, all day yesterday, and then up until 11 o'clock today, just a little over an hour ago, the excitement was palpable in the drive-by media. The drive-by media would bring it on their weather experts during what would normally be standard news broadcast time. And there was the track. And the track had it hitting right there at Washington, D.C., maybe somewhere off Maryland somewhere, but it was going to be a disaster. 10 inches of rain, minimum. Not to mention the winds. It'll be a Category 3 hurricane before it gets to the East Coast. And they were gearing up for yet another man-made global warming disaster. And then the National Hurricane Center issued their 11 a.m. track, and it looks like it's going to stay offshore. Foiled again, ladies and gentlemen. The global warming crowd foiled yet again. As our official climatologist here at the EIB network, Roy Spencer, observed, and this is true. This is that if the hurricane had hit the East Coast, we would hear nothing about it. Global warming, that's all we would hear about. But now that it doesn't hit the East Coast, if it just stays out to sea, we won't hear a thing about anything. We won't hear a thing about the hurricane. We won't hear a thing about global warming. Only if it hit land and only if it caused some damage. Only if there were, what you get with hurricanes, lots of rain, lots of wind. That's standard operating procedure for hurricanes. If that had happened, global warming, climate change, it might have been enough to launch Al Gore's presidential campaign. Of course I know how to pronounce the name of the hurricane. What do you mean you don't know how to pronounce it? No, it's Joaquin. See, if you didn't take Spanish, you don't know that. Joaquin is Joaquin. And so everybody's been wondering where Joaquin is going to enter the country. And now it looks like Joaquin is not going to enter the country, and the global warming crowd is distressed, and as is the Hurricane Center. This hurricane, Mr. Snerdley did not hear this. He was screening calls in the first hour of the program. I mean, up until 11 o'clock this morning, the Hurricane Center and the American left is all excited. They're finally going to get a hurricane strike land. Finally. They've been hoping for ever since Katrina. We haven't had a major hurricane strike the continental United States in 10 years. That's not good for the climate change movement. They need hurricanes, and they need destructive hurricanes. They need damage. They need these hurricanes hitting the United States so as to further the hoax, global warming, but there haven't been any. So here comes Joaquin. And it was kind of an added bonus that this hurricane was named Joaquin. If they ever do name a hurricane Abdulaziz or Mohammed, what are the odds are it will strike land? Just asking. But Joaquin here looks like as of 11 o'clock is not going to strike land. They moved the track further east. The 5 a.m. track today had it hitting near Washington, D.C., and now they've moved it further east to where it does not impact the U.S. East Coast at all, if it stays on this current track. It's probably going to end up being forecast to turn even further east and go out over the Atlantic. It's wreaking havoc in Bahamas right now. But as Dr. Spencer said today, our climatologist, isn't it amazing, Rush, if this thing had hit land, all we would hear about is global warming. It's the same hurricane, same storm, same winds, same rain, but out in the open sea, it won't even be talked about. And that's a brilliant observation. If it strikes land, all because of global warming. If it doesn't strike land, and therefore nobody experiences anything from it and the effects, then they won't even talk about it. Exposing once again the fraud that is news coverage of this stuff. I'm surprised you did not know that Joaquin is pronounced Joaquin. You didn't either. You didn't either. Last name Ramos, and you didn't either? That is stunning to me. I know it isn't, but it was.